नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 14, beginning from verse number 1. In the last chapter we read how Maitreya he explained to Vidura the appearance of Lord Varahadev and how he uplifted the earth, and then he went to his own abode. So after hearing this, Maitreya wanted to ask more questions about this appearance of Lord Varaha, and this is how the chapter begins, and then whole story, because he asked a question about that from where suddenly this Hiranyaksha appeared. So then he will tell the whole story of birth of Hiranyaksha. That's how the chapter 14 explains. So Atha Chaturdasha Adhyaya, 14th chapter. Sri Shuka Uvacha, Sri Sukdev said to Parikshita, Nisamya Kaushara Vinopavarnitam Hare Katham Karana Sukaratmanaha Punah Sapapratchatamudyatanjalir Nachati Tripto Vidurodhrita Vrataha. After hearing the story of Lord Hari in the form of boar, who is personification of the sacrifice, described by Maitreya, son of Kosara Rishi, Vidura was not satisfied. So he again asked him, because he was fixed Dhritavrata in hearing Lord's pastimes. So you are invited by somebody for the lunch, and they serve you nice food and they give you gulab jamun. So you eat one and you are not satisfied, you want more. Because just eating one gulab jamun is not fun. You want more, right? You don't have diabetes. Why are you looking like this? Gulab jamun is a sweet. So Vidura, he got some story and he was really hungry. So he wanted more. He says, come on, if you are giving, why be so miser? Tell me more. Serve more. So this is the meaning of Dhritavrata, that he did not have any other errand to perform, that he has some other appointment or meeting or go somewhere. He was free. He has come only for this purpose. So therefore he asked again, and Udyata Anjali, he was putting his hands up like this, that please, just like begging. When you beg somebody, so he was begging just like that please tell me more. See the meaning of Udyata. Udyata means uplifted, and Anjali is the hands folded together. So Naati Tripto. So it is said that he was not very satisfied. Not that he was not satisfied at all. He derived satisfaction in hearing. It's like if you eat gulab jamun, you feel satisfaction with that. And then you want more. So therefore it says that Na Ati Tripta. Did not say that he was not satisfied, but he was not completely satisfied. And if you are being served, better satisfy yourself. Don't feel shy when it comes to eating. Otherwise later on you have to starve. So he is not shy that shall I ask or not ask. If I ask, what he will think. Sometimes you feel shy. If I ask more, this guy will think that he is so hungry. Looks like he has never seen food. So Vidura was not feeling inhibited. because he was Dhritavrata, he was fixed in hearing. Therefore, he asked for more. So Chaturdase Diti Saimakam Chakme Munim Anutepe Chatad Dushtaputra Bhut Sishta Naptrika. This 14th chapter describes a very wonderful story. It describes the story of Diti, who is wife of sage Kashyapa, and something very, what you call, lockic, what will be the English word? It's not coming to my mind. Mundane. Something very mundane, although she is the wife of a sage, but she approached him in the evening to have union with him. And she really insisted to the sage Munim that he had no other choice but to fulfill her desire. And this was inappropriate request. So later on she repented. And the sage said that because this was the wrong time, now you are going to get sons who will be very demoniac. So demoniac that they will terrify the whole world. Says, what can I do? But then, because she repented and she realized her mistake, then he said that, all right, your sons will be like this, but you will have one grandson who will be a great devotee, Prahlad. So this is described here. So when we go to the next verse, Vidura Uvacha. So what did Vidura say? How did he ask the question? He said, Teneva tu muni shrestha harina yajya murtina adi datyo hiranyaksho hataiti anusushrama. He said that we have heard that the same Yagyamurti Hari, Lord Varahadev, who appeared, he had killed Hiranyaksha, who is the Adi Daitya, the original demon. So how is that? Because earlier no name was mentioned. It was only he heard that some Daitya came and it was killed. Who was this Daitya? There is no mention. Tasya cha uddharatah kshonim swadanshtragrena leelaya Daitya rajasya cha brahman kasmad hetora bhunvidha. He says, how is it that the battle between these two people occurred, between Lord Varaha, who was carrying earth on tip of his tusk, and the king of the Daityas, demons. So what was the reason? Why did they have to fight? Because there is nothing seemed to be common. One is doing his own job, other is king. He's not that he's looking for something. He is Daityaraj, he is a very powerful person, ruling. And there was Lord in the form of a Varaha carrying the earth. What was the problem? So for what reason the battle occurred between these two? So the commentator says that Tenaiva yena harina swayam bhuve prithvi uddhadre Tenaiva chakshushi hiranyaksha hata iti vyakhyan. Says that the same Lord Hari who lifted the earth in Swayambhu Manu, in the Swayambhu Manvantara, same killed Hiranyaksha in Chakshus Manvantara. Say that this is how it has to be understood. And Mridho Yuddham, Mridha means the battle. So the question is that Lord is called Hari here, and Hari means one who takes away your sins one who blesses you. So why he's killing? Seems opposite the nature of Lord. All this. So therefore, he is the one who takes away your pains and miseries. Why is he killing? And then he is called Adi Datya. If he is the Adi, means the very first Datya. If he is killed, then there will be no more Datyas. So he should be killed or not killed? Should be killed because he is Datya, but he is the original one. If you kill him, then you are stopping the very source. And he is called Hiranyaksha. Hiranya means gold and Aksha means eyes. So he is like that King Midas who touched anything, it became gold. He is even one step, he doesn't need to touch, he only looks and turns it into gold. Means he only looks for gold. His eyes are set only on the gold. Right? So that Midas was at least touching something and turning it into gold, and then later on he realized that this is a very horrible thing because he wanted to eat and his food turned into gold. He wanted to drink, that turned into gold, and his daughter came and he embraced her, she also turned into gold. So this is the human mentality, this is the materialistic mind, that they turn everything into matter, even the living beings. Human mind is that which wants everything for his or her own pleasure. So this is the disease, this is the Datya mentality. This is the Asuric or the demoniac mentality. That we turn even a living being into a product, in an object. This is what happens, that people get married, they fall in love, then they get married, and then they only see the other person as my object. No, don't do this, don't go there, be here, sit down. Why are you doing this? Why are you writing this email? So is he a human being or is he an object under your control? So you do all these things and then you call it love. So it is not love, it's like a toy, you know. Why people like toys? Because they don't object. They are objects without objection. They are called object because they never object. So you put the toy here, it is here. Or now you have electronic toy, so whatever you do, they do like that. They never ask, why you are asking me this? Like you have your computer, you have your mouse, you go whatever you want to do, you do it. The computer never turns back to you and he says, come on, don't overload me with this many programs. And why are you bothering me after so many hours? Give me some rest. No, he keeps on going according to the capacity. So human beings, we also like human beings like that. So you have some children, then you throw them up in the air, hold them like this. People like children because they think they are toys. And everybody likes to play with them just like toys. They will make them do the same thing. Come here, what is your name? Where is your nose? Where is your eye? Guy must get tired after a while. And in the house, some new people come, then they will always ask, tell uncle, where is your nose? So this is the greatest fun for the parents. So it's just like a little moving toy. So this is the Hiranyaksha, that everything is for me, and wherever we touch, we turn everything into gold. But in the process, our consciousness is killed. Our soul is murdered. We become objects. But really speaking, soul cannot be murdered, so then we suffer, being surrounded by all this matter. So therefore Lord has to smash this fellow. So that is the meaning of Hiranyaksha, that he turns everything into gold. And when everything is turned into gold, then there is no nectar remaining. And there is no talk about spirituality, about soul, about higher consciousness, about real loving relationship. Because then all their dealings are in the form of gold. Who is the richest man in the world? So they count who has so many $1 billion. But is he rich? Why is that only dollars are to be counted for richness? There are no other things in this life which is also considered as wealth: knowledge, peacefulness, happiness, love. No. Hiranyakshas cannot consider these things. For them, how many tons of gold you have, that is the wealth. The sages are called tapodhana, means whose wealth is doing austerity, who is more austere, or gyandhana, who has more knowledge, who is more realized. But now only dollar dhana, who has more dollars. So this is the Hiranyaksha, this is the Adidatya, the prime demon. So he is asking that what transpired that these people have to fight. So transpired means one is God who wants to propagate spirituality, another is Datya who wants to propagate materialism. So there is always a battle between these two mentalities. Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Sadhu Viratvaya Prishtam Avatara Katham Harehe Yatvam Pritchasi Martyanam Mrityu Pasha Vishatani. So Maitreya first praised him that indeed you have asked a very nice question. You are actually a hero. He is calling him Veera. Veera means a brave person, a chivalrous person. Because only some very brave person will be interested in fixing the mind on Harikatha. Other people, they don't have the valor to fix mind on Harikatha, on the activities of the Lord. Their minds are fixed on gold, Hiranyaksha. So he is calling him, because to get your mind out of all that mess and put it here, you have to be a very strong person, very fixed. As he said, Dhritavrata, fixed in his vows. So therefore he recognized him. He says Sadhu Veera. Usually Veera, we think Veera means one who is good in fighting. But in Sanskrit there are different types of Veeras. There are Daya Veeras, Dan Veera, Yuddha Veera, and one more. 4 types. Dharma Veera. There are 4 types of heroes described. Those heroes, Dharma Veera, those who are brave in doing pious activities, religious activities. And Dan Veera, those who are heroic in giving charity. And Daya Veera, those who are heroic in being compassionate. And then Yuddha Veera, those who are hero on the battlefield. So 4 types of heroes or brave people. So Vidura is also Veera here. Tvaya Prishtam Avatar Kathamare. You are asking about the Avatar Katha, the description of Lord's descent on earth and how he acts. And this actually will cut the bondage of death of mortal beings. Here in the material world, everybody has to die unwillingly. We don't like to die, we like to live. So So it is like we are tied with the ropes of death, and this rope is strangling us, and one day we will be strangled. But if by hearing Katha of Krishna, Lord Hari, this rope is cut off, then you will not die, you will become immortal, you will become liberated. Then death will not have her sway over you. So this Katha makes one immortal. Therefore it is compared to Amrita, Kathamritam. So Amrita is that by drinking which a person becomes immortal, the elixir. In the olden days, alchemists were trying to make this, but they were searching for it. Two things they were searching. One was touchstone, by which you turn iron into gold, and other was elixir, drinking which you become immortal. But they don't know that actually it exists here. Touchstone is the Hiranyaksha, and elixir is Harikatha. So he says that this cuts the bondage to death. He Veera, Harer Yuddha Leela, Susruso Prishtamidam Sadhu Yata Etat Prashna Mishena Avtariyor Varha Nirsinyor Katham Pritchasi. So he says that you are heroic because you are asking a question to hear about the pastime of Lord in which he fights. And there are two manifestations of the Lord which will be described. One is of Varahadev, another is the Nrsingadev. Because Varahadev killed Hiranyaksha and Nrsingadev killed his brother Hiranyakashipu, which will come later on. So you are asking that story. This is very wonderful. Tadvair karnoktau tayor upasthite anyanapi kritartham tum in ityaha martyanam. And you are asking the cause of their enmity, why the fight was there, and by this you are blessing other people also, because then others will also get a chance to hear, and this makes one immortal. So now someone may say that what actually is the proof that Harikatha makes hearing this Katha one becomes immortal. So then next he gives an example. Yayo Tanapada Putro Munina Gitayarbhakaha Mrityo Kritvaiva Murdhangrim Aruroha Hare Padam. He gives a very nice example of Dhruva, who was son of Uttanapada. And he heard the Katha of Lord Hari from Sri Narada, who is called here as Muni. And because of that, he was able to put his foot on the head of death personified and ride into the aeroplane which took him to Dhruva planet, the pole star. So he actually literally transcended death. It's one unique example. Usually you go to the heaven or Lord's abode by giving up this body, and you get another body and then you reach there. But Dhruva went in the same body. So when he was going, then death came, because death has the field here, and she thought that how anyone can leave this planet without being graced by me. So Dhruva has to ride this aeroplane, and the aeroplane was a little high. So to ride that, he called the death. He said, "Oh, you have come for me, come here." He says, "Sit down." And then he put his foot on the head and went up into the plane. He said, "Okay, now you can go." So that is described that Kritvaeva Murdhi Angrim. Angri means feet and Murdhi means head. And Aruroha means he alighted or the plane, Hare Padam, and went to the abode of Lord Hare. So he is actually giving an example. Why? Because he heard the katha from Narada. Hari katha eva jagad uddharni ityatra pramanama. He is giving a proof how the hearing of Lord's pastime can make one free from death. Yaya kathya mrityor murdhni iti dhruvasya antkalam gyatva yadaiva mrityuragata tadaiva sunandadivir vimanam anitam arodham dhruva sopan anveshane mrityum avastitam drashtva bhadramidam jatam. So when it was time for Dhruva's last period, means it was like time for him to leave, then the death came to know. So she approached him, that how can you leave without me? You are under my jurisdiction, you have to die and then only you can live. And that is the time when the aeroplane had come, brought by Sunanda. Sunanda was the pilot. Nanda, Sunanda, they were the pilots. So Dhruva was making an effort to ride into the plane, but it was high. And he was looking for some step. Like these days you have planes and then they come with the steps, you get down or you get up with that. So he saw the death standing there. So he said, oh, this is very nice. This death will serve the purpose. So he says, come here and stand, you hold this plane with your hands and I will ride from the backside, put hands on top. This is how he went. So he said, the death that you come and put your back. So it became like a ladder. So he went up and entered into the plane and then the door was closed. Tasya murdhanim padam dattva sariram atyaktva eva vimanam arohi. So putting his foot on the head without giving up the body, he entered into the plane and Vishnu padam jagama. And then he went into the abode of the Lord. So at least in these books there is a talk of the aeroplane before anyone talked about them. These books were written thousands of years ago. So there must be something. They are talking like this. So he was the son of Uttanpad, and he is saying that you are also a great person because you have the same zeal to hear. So now he comes to the story. Says atrapi itihasoyam sruto me varnitam varnita pura brahmana deva devena deva nam anuprichatam. He says that in this regard I have heard this history which was described earlier by Lord Brahma being questioned by the Devas. So Brahma is called Deva Deva, the supreme Deva of the Devas, and he was questioned by them about this history. So Maitreya also heard that. Whether he has heard it directly or in parampara he would have heard. So then he tells the story. And the story starts. He says, Ditir Dakshayani Kshattar Maricham Kashyapam Patim Apatya Kama Chakme Sandhyayam Hrichayardita. Says that Diti is the daughter of Daksha. Her name is Diti and she is called here as Dakshayani. Dakshayani means the daughter of Daksha. And her husband is Kashyapa Muni, son of Marichi Rishi. So Marichi is the son of Brahma. We read in the previous chapter. He had produced 10 sons, and one of them was Marichi. Marichi was actually one of the chief ones. No, this was in 12th chapter, not in the 13th. Marichi Atriyangira Sopulas Tapulha Kritu Bhragur Vasishta Dakshasya Dasmas Tatra Narda. So Daksha was one of the sons and Marichi was another one. So Daksha's daughter was married to Marichi. And Marichi was born from the mind. And Kamadev is also supposed to be born from mind. Kamadev means Cupid. Kamadev is the lord of lust. It's because we have been hearing that everything has a deity, so there is also deity of Kama, or lust. And he is called Kamadeva or Cupid. And his place is mind. And Marichi was born from the mind. And he has his son Kashyapa. So there is some relationship with Kamadev. And he has a daughter, his wife is Diti. And Diti is the daughter of Daksha. And Daksha was son of Prachetas in this particular. One Daksha is described there as son of Brahma. But this Daksha, because this is the story of Chakshus Manvantara, not Swambhu Manvantara. There Daksha was the son of Prachetas. And Prachetas were, how many were there?
1,000?
No.
100?
No.
4, 5.
No.
No. Prachetas,
Only
100.
9 or 11, how many were there? I
These
think-
people who burn the forest,
Yeah.
100 I think.
No, they are not 100. There are 7, I don't remember the number, but something 7, 8, 10, 11.
Only.
No.
Not more than that. But the interesting thing is that they had only one wife,
Ah, yeah.
who was the daughter of the trees. And Somdev gave it because they're burning the trees. So this seems like one wife, many husbands. That shows little problem. And then she is the daughter of their son. So she also must have some samskaras coming from there. And she is specifically called here Dakshayani, means daughter of the father, which signifies having some characteristics coming in the family. So she approached the sage to desire sons, apatya kama chakame. She wants to have children, but she requested him in the evening time, twilight, sandhya. Why Hrichaya Ardita? Being completely tormented by the lust, which is called here Hrichaya. Hrit means heart and Shaya means lying. So lust is supposed to come from the heart or the mind, and she was being tormented by it. That she could not help it, and she approached the husband. And still she is having not just the desire to enjoy, but to have children. Although she was disturbed by Kama. So evening time is not considered as appropriate for this act. Because evening time, as we've been reading in Sankhya also, is the time for meditation. Not for union with wife or husband. So, drishtva agni jimbham payasa purusham yajasa patim nimlochite arkim asinam agnyagare samahitam. And he saw that the husband was sitting in the area where fire sacrifice was performed. This Agnihotra was a type of sacrifice which they used to do every morning and evening. So Ishtva Agni Jimbham Payasa, and he has performed this sacrifice with payas means milk, also it means sweet rice. Purusham Yajusam Patim, the master of Yajurveda. And Nimlochti Arka, the sun was already down, it was already set. Asinam Agni Agare Samahitam. Now this Yajusampatim is for the husband actually. He is the master of the Yajurveda. He was sitting in his hut where Agni Agar means the place of fire, and he was meditating. After doing sacrifice, he was meditating on the Lord, Samahitam. He was actually in Samadhi. So this is the times he reached. So Deva Prasna Prastavaya Pratham Hiranyaksha Hiranyakashipu Utpatti Prasangamaha. So first he is explaining the history of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, these two brothers, how they were born, because the story of Varahadev is related with them. So he is talking about that. Ditirityadina Yavad Adhyasamapti, and the story will go till the end of this chapter. Marichahe Putram Kashyapam. So Kashyap is the son of Marichi. Hritshayardita Kama Pidita, being tormented by lusty desires. Ataha Sandhyayam eva. So therefore, even in the evening time, which is the wrong time, Tatrapi Agnihotra Shalayam, and that also going to the place where Agnihotra sacrifice is performed. This is a place of worship. This is not a place to ask for anything like this. And Tatrapi Samahitam, and on top of that, the husband was not just sitting or doing something, he was in meditation. So all three are the wrong combination. Wrong time, wrong place, and the wrong mood of the husband. Krita Samadhim Sandhyayam api Nimlochati Arke Ark Astama Kale, and the sun has gone down. Agnir Jivha Yasyatam Yajusam Yagyanam Patim Vishnu. So he has already worshipped Lord Vishnu and he was sitting in meditation. So this was the time when she reached. So then Diti, she spoke as follows. Diti Ruvacha, Diti said, Esha mam tvatkrite vidvan kame atta shadasanaha dunoti dinam vikramya rambhamiva matangaja. She said that, O learned husband, this kama or lust is troubling me for your sake, Tvatkrita. And he is having his bow in his hand, and just like an elephant trying to crush a banana plant. Elephants love to uproot a banana plant and smash it and eat. So elephant is very powerful, and if you have seen banana plant, it is very soft. There is nothing in it. You can go on peeling. So it's very soft. So it's giving that how this Cupid is so powerful and I am so weak. And he is tormenting me. So Cupid is supposed to, in Indian scriptures, described as having bow and arrow. And he has 5 arrows and he has bow made of flowers, and if he shoots an arrow at somebody means that person is finished. And then he has an army with him, army of apsaras, these beautiful women, and spring season is also a part of his army, and birds. So whenever somebody is to be disturbed on who some sages are performing austerities, then Indra will send Cupid that you go and disturb him. So Cupid will come with all his arrows and with all these beautiful women, music, and create a nice atmosphere that person gets disturbed and gets desire for sex life and forgets about meditation.
And Indra did this because?
Hmm?
Indra did this why? It was
If,
just for fun?
if he thinks that you are going to take his place.
Oh, I see.
So now this thought of having sex is most disturbing in meditation. Try to meditate and you get this thought, then it is impossible that you can meditate. So he is meditating and now the wife is coming and trying to disturb. So husband is in a tough situation. And there is very interesting commentary by Vallabhacharya. He really makes it very alive. He says that Prathamam Kama Pidam Aha Sarvahetu Bhutam. He says first he is describing the disturbance caused by Kama or the lust, because this is the root cause of every other trouble on spiritual life. Everything comes from this. Therefore it says Sarva Hetu Bhutam. Esha. Esha means just like if someone is standing in front of you and you point finger that this fellow is bothering me, you complain to somebody. Because in Sanskrit there are different words which are used for someone who is present and someone who is far away or someone who is beyond your vision. So there are three different words. So Esha, he says, Esha iti devata rupa kama prataksha jata. He says that this deity of Kama, the Cupid, Kamdev, is present personally here. Look, Esha. That is the meaning of the word Esha, why Esha is being used. And it's showing to the husband that look, he is standing here, troubling me. It's like pointing. Now, the interesting thing, he says that Kama Shastre, Kama Purusham eva badate natu striyam. In Kama Shastra, or the literature dealing with Kama, it is described that Kama or the lust or the Cupid, it troubles only the man and not the women. So how is it opposite here? That it is women which is being troubled by Kama and not the men. So usually you see that it is men who are very lusty after women. So how it is said here? It says Natu Striyam. Why that Cupid does not disturb or create obstacle for women? He says Tasya Sva Pratna Rupatya. He says they are part of his army. What is there? They are already within him. What trouble them? He uses them to trouble others. He is the, what you call, commander-in-chief, and the army is not of men, his army is made of women. So what, he is not going to bother his own army people. So Purushartham cha Purushasya. There are 4 Purusharthas, right? Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Now Purushartha is for the Purusha, not for the Istri. Purusha means man. So Purusharthasya Purushasya, Anyatha Purushasya Stri Sheshatvam Syat. Otherwise Purusha will become part of Istri. So Tasmat Katham Badate iti asankya. So he is raising a question that how is it that this Cupid is bothering poor lady? This is the question, because this is how you analyze verses so nicely. He says, Esha Mam, he said that Esha Mam Kama Attarashna Badate, that this Cupid is bothering me. So as if the husband is asking, this is very strange, how he can bother you, he should bother me. So then the next word uses Tvat Krite, that he is bothering me for you. Tvat means you, Krite means for the sake of. That he is bothering me for your sake means he really wants to bother you, but he is coming this way because I am the part of the army. So nicely he analyzed this verse. It says, Tvat Krite Tvadartham Mam Badate. For your sake, he is troubling me. It's like you want to trouble somebody, instead of troubling that person directly, you go and trouble someone who is related to that. And then you know that if I trouble this person, then this guy will come. Or like people kidnap somebody's child and then they ask for ransom. So they are not actually, they don't want to trouble the child. They want to get money from the father. But instead of kidnapping the father, they kidnap the baby. And then they demand. So he is troubling the wife to trouble him. So she is pointing this to him. Tvam badhitum asamarthatvat tvad badhartham mam badhate. Now the question comes that why the hell this Cupid is not bothering the sage directly? Why go through this lady, his wife? So she says that the thing is that he is unable to trouble you because you are so powerful. You are sitting in meditation, you are fixed in your samadhi, there is nothing he can do. So you are immune to him. So he is coming through me, and I am your wife, you have to listen to me, because you cannot refuse the wife. But if Cupid has to come directly, means he will come with his beautiful ladies, these apsaras, then the sage will not be disturbed by that. He will say, okay, you can shoot your arrows and go. So he has 5 arrows. Why 5 arrows? Because we have 5 senses. Sense of seeing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of taste. So Cupid attacks on all the senses and captivates you, then you are finished. So atoham kama prerita tad badham karomi iti bhava. Therefore she says that therefore I have been impelled by Cupid to bother you. And that's why I am coming to you. This is the meaning of Esha Mam Tvat Krite Vidwan. Vidwan iti natra kinchit nirupniyam kama turaya shastra siddhatvat. So she is calling him Vidwan, means O scholar or learned person. So why she is calling him learned instead of calling O my husband, O my dear, O honey? Usually the wife will call honey at least at this moment, O my dear. She is calling him Vidwan, scholar, learned. So what is the reason? So he says that reason is that you are Vidwan, and now don't try to give me lecture because in the Shastras it is described that a woman can be disturbed like this, and this is how she behaves when she is disturbed. And then he says that Atta Sarasana iti tvad badhayam akritayam mam jivto marishyati iti suchitam. Says that this Cupid is holding the bow and arrow in his hand. Now why he is holding bow and arrow in hand? Not to bother Kashyapa, because Kashyapa he cannot do anything. He has told me that if you don't go and disturb your husband, I am going to kill you. Just like kidnapping the child, that if you don't give me this much $1 million, I am going to kill your son. So she is saying that Cupid has actually controlled me, and he is having this arrow in his hand, means he has put a gun to my head, and he is saying that if I don't come and bother you, then he is going to kill me. So you want that I get killed? This is the meaning. Sakshatkarah swasya pratnatva suchka. And why is that she is able to see the Cupid and Kashyapa, the husband, is not seeing? Because she is the part of the army. So she can see. If someone says, why is that she was seeing directly? Says pratnatva suchka. Ateva bhruvor bhango jayate iti rasdrishtyopi nirgachanti iti sharatvam. So the eyebrows of a woman are supposed to be the arrows of the Cupid. And also the looking from the side, that is called rasadrashti. So he says these are the arrows because she is saying that because she is also standing there and looking at Kashyapa. So why she says that I am part of the army? She says because I am shooting also the arrows. Dunoti pidayati says this is bothering me, it is troubling me, and therefore I am helpless. Dinam. She is saying Dunoti dinam. Why am I helpless? Because I am kidnapped. I am under his control, and he is absolutely cruel. Tasya nirdayattam. If someone kidnaps, they are not people who have compassion or some mercy. Says he is very cruel. Dayotpadanartham. And why they are cruel? So that the husband can be compassionate to save. Vrakramya iti tasya atyantam agraha. So he has absolutely overpowered me, and then finally he says that don't think that he is not going to destroy me, because he says Rambhamiga Maha Matangaja iti nasanartham pravritti, that he is ready to smash me just like an elephant smashes a banana plant. So please help. SOS. Nice explanation he's giving. Some stuff. Actually, he gives very nice explanation of the second verse also. We'll read that tomorrow.
Is that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation?
No, this is Vallabhacharya.
Oh, Bacharya.
Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti I did not read. So I missed that. We'll read that tomorrow. So number 9, right? Well, that one is remaining.
Is Kamadeva always successful?
Most of the time.
But what is this story with Lord Shiva?
I was going to say, what didn't Lord Shiva take care of him?
Lord Shiva's story that he was trying to disturb him and he burnt him.
Yeah.
And we have no body, no?
That was because Parvati wanted to
When he was born as son of Krishna, Pradyumna.
Continue.
But why is it that Cupid wants to overpower this Kashyapa, especially through Dharma, if there's nothing wrong with it?
Overpower whom?
This Muni, this Kashyapa, is it Kashyapa?
Kashyapa.
Yeah.
Son?
Kashyapa.
Yeah, why?
Why he wants to do it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the wife who wants children. So how there will be children if Muni is not interested?
Alright.
she got.
I mean, why a Muni has to marry if he does not agree in having children?
He's not refusing. He was only saying that just wait for some time. It's not the right time.
Okay.
He did not say no.
So what was the right time in Vedic times then? You said not in the evenings.
And
What was
Night.
it? Night.
So it means that when the union between a man and a woman in this world is pushed by, impaired by the lust, demoniac mentalities are created or something like that? Or like this?
Yes, well, here they are mainly talking about the time. And this was the wrong time.
that is sort of the implication there, considering what was born of the union.
What is the basis of Babacharya's commentary? It stated there that she wanted children.
Yeah.
So what is the basis of his commentary, where he's turning it around, that she's forced to disturb him.
The verse itself is saying that this karma is tormenting me. This is the verse, he is explaining the verse. He is not changing anything. He is only giving the meaning, what is there in the verse. The verse itself is saying that Esha, Esha mam tvatkrite vidvan kame ata sarasane dunoti dinam vikramya rambhamiva matanga. That this kama, holding the bow and arrow in his hand, is troubling me for your sake, after overpowering me. Just like an elephant destroys a plantain.
She wanted children, so why is she saying that? That I've been forced to do this.
Because she is feeling like that.
So
Why
this,
she is not forced to speak, she is feeling. It's not that she wants children, she was also agitated in the mind. That's why it was already said, apatya kama chakame sandhyayam hrichayadita. Because in the olden days the thing was that even if you have desire for sexual union, you don't want to do it just for enjoyment. You also produce children. So both are there. Therefore both things were stated there, apatya kama and hrichayadita. In verse number 7 itself, that she was desirous of children and she was also full of lust in the heart. Otherwise, how she will have children?
So essentially she asked for help,
Yeah.
and that was his way of sort of forcing the issue, shall we say. The kama, she asked for help from
Well,
him.
this is just a way of explaining. Kama
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
some human being standing there.
it's,
Yeah, I know, but she
it's
prayed to
more
him,
like
maybe,
she's
that's what I meant.
being forced by her own desires. It sounds more like she's been forced by her own internal desires and personifying it.
Personifying what?
Her desires.
Her desires as Cupid.
Yeah, it is just a way of describing. It's not that
That's
Cupid
right.
was actually standing there.
Oh, okay.
Don't take this literally.
Okay, fine.
It's just a way of explaining. This is Sahitya, and here the bhav is presented in more, what you call, vivid manner.
Poetic also. Poetic.
Yeah, just a poetic explanation. That when someone is overpowered by the feeling of lust, this is how one feels. And that has been shown as if the person is kidnapped or hijacked. And when someone's mind is fixed on lust, this is what happens. They feel completely uncontrolled, without control. If somebody is forcing them to do things, and after doing it, many people repent, well, I should not have people rape others, and then they realize that it was wrong. But then why don't do it? Because they are out of control. So it's just been shown, and it is shown more in a Vedic poetic style, where Cupid has a form, he has a person, he has bows and arrows, he has his army. But all this signifies that these are the things which increase lusty feelings. If a man sees beautiful woman, it's spring season, flowers, lake, then it brings out the lusty desires.
So where this lusty desire, they have their root, where they find their...
Where is the desire root? Any desire having its root?
In the mind.
So it's in the mind. Where else desire come? They don't come in.
In the mind, yeah. And then there's the action taken on according to the desire.
Once you have desire, then you act.
And this having sex only for the procreation, is it for saintly people or also for the common man?
Well, originally it was for everybody. Because they actually led a life like that. They were trained like that. Now it may seem something impossible, but if you see the lifestyle, how they were born, they were actually produced with this process first of all. And because they were produced with this process, already they had samskaras like that. Because a lot of samskaras go into the child the way he is produced. That's the point being made here, that why Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha are born, which are demons, because the consciousness is not proper. It is being done at the wrong time, and although she is desiring children, but she is also full of lust. That is the point which is being made. So when children were produced properly with Garbhadhan Samskara and this ceremony, and then they were trained properly in the Gurukula, then lust was not the prime thing. If someone has lived 25 years as a celibate student in the Gurukula, then he is already having so much enjoyment from this celibacy that lust is not an attraction for it. And that is something which has to be experienced. And people did experience that. Therefore, they were not lusty in their mind after that. They will produce children, they will unite to have children, and that's all. But now, because the whole thing is changed, and right from childhood, children are seeing all kinds of things on TV and video, then you don't expect them to have sex only for procreation. It's impossible. It's other way around actually. That you have sex and no children. Children is not even mind. So these people, they were celibate and they were having such control of mind that they could produce children without having sex. That is another thing. That's why Brahma was producing without sex. Because this is not the only way to produce children. This is one way of producing children, having sex. So they were at the level that they could produce children without sex. Then they came to the level that they produced children with sex. And now we come to the level that you have sex and no children. Now sex and children have no meaning. There is no relation. So people don't marry these days to have children. That is not the purpose of marriage anymore. Originally, marriage was for the sake of creating progeny, so that children will be born, they will be produced, and then they will be trained so that they become sages. Now they will be pious, religious, and they continue. So putrartha kriyate bharya putram pinda prayojana. His wife was taken for the sake of having a son, and son was for the sake of continuing the pinda dan. So that was a different purpose And that's why now with the modern mind it is difficult to understand Hinduism. And why this and why that and all this. So they had a different system, different purpose of life. Now it is all changed. So you cannot grasp it obviously. Because to understand this you have to know what was the intention of these people. What is that they were trying to achieve? They were not trying to achieve what we are trying to achieve now in modern society. So this modern society will look very strange to them. If people, somebody say who was on earth 500 years ago in India and he comes now here, he will say, come on, take me out of this place immediately. Where did you bring me?
I have a question about this stepping on the head of the
You see that many of these things try to understand that they are allegorical. Don't try to take them exactly the way it is described. The idea is that he became free from death. Now whether actually the death was there and he put the head on top and then he went into the aeroplane, that is not the purpose.
My question was like something that the point is that he has left from a material, let's say, environment and dimension into a spiritual dimension. So then, but he has carried something like, there's some transformation, something has to happen. Otherwise.
Yeah, his body changed. To describe that, his body changed from material to spiritual immediately.
Okay, because these are two different energies. So.
His body got transformed.
So then what is the meaning of saying in the very same body?
Means he did not experience death basically. That is the idea. And just to show that how bhakti makes one transcendental. Now it does not mean that it happens to everybody. Just to show, many of these stories are there to show the power or potency of bhakti or yoga. Just to make us understand. Otherwise, what material body will do in the spiritual world? It will have a problem then.
So you mean again that the transformation from the material body to the spiritual body is not a problem for this person. It's just happening, and he's not really involved with it because he's already there.
Yeah. So he did not feel that he is experiencing death and then taking it just happened.
So it's like we take off a garment and it doesn't really involve, we're not really getting involved with it. We remain the same.
Yes.
So bottom line, sex is really for procreation.
At least God made it for
Wanted
that.
it like that.
But Freud has another idea.
Yes. That's true.
Because she's part of Cupid's army, she doesn't know all these things.
Maybe she's retired from the
Not so polite.
Mm.